Welcome to the mid-vacation episode of Home Visit with Tyler Siskey and the Associates. We're going to be all over the place today. I got about 10,000 different topics we'll cover, but we'll have a good time. Then we'll get another couple weeks off, get you guys rested and relaxed and ready to go, batteries recharged and ready to go for the football season, which is closing down. We're like 60 something odd days away from the start of football season, so can't wait and excited to do that. Hey, before we get started, I want to remind everybody about our good friends at Cooper Chevrolet Buick in Anniston. Guys, finding a car these days is very difficult. You go to any car lot in America, you can see that everybody's down. It's hard to find cars. If you need to find a car, you need to call our friends at Cooper Chevrolet. They will get you taken care of very quickly, efficiently, and bring it to you. You can go to cooperorder.com or call 256 236 4481. That's Cooper Chevrolet Buick in Anniston, 256 236 4481. We took a week off, fresh back from the beach with the family. We go, which I've talked about here before. We go with my wife's family to the South Carolina coast every single year. Just thought I'd share a couple little review with you. We tried Pawleys Island, which is just south of Myrtle Beach. It's the first time we've been there, and I'm a fan. It's got a little bit of the Gulf taste where there's a lot to do, but it's also laid back. The big difference for you people that are beach goers during the summer, the biggest difference to me between the South Carolina coast and the Gulf Coast is the amount of people. So on the Gulf Coast, there's got condos, and every building's got thousands of people in it. And if you want to go to the South Carolina coast, you're Airbnb in a house. And so that's a little bit different. So the people are down, the beaches are less crowded, the sand is different. But besides that, it's laid back. And for me and my personality, I like to, unplug, drink a couple of cold beers, and look at the water. So that's big for me. So I'm a fan of the South Carolina coast, and I encourage everybody to go to Pawleys Island. The fun thing that really that it made me want to bring this up is how much we like talking about ghosts and things like this on this podcast. And I did not realize till we got there. I was told by my in-laws get a kick out of this because of my fascination in my ghost, how scared I am of the ghost. They informed me that Pawleys Island is one of the most haunted places in South Carolina. And so I was not participating. I didn't want to talk it into existence. So the big thing for me is I don't want to talk about it. So everybody that made fun of me, they got a piece of their own medicine. So my brother-in-law Jeff and his wife Megan were staying in a house, and they had a ghost in their house that would talk to them. It only said one sentence. It would say, "Can you hear me?" That's all it said. But everybody thought Megan was joking or somebody was playing a trick on her, but it wasn't. And by the end of the week, everybody in the house heard it. So I thought that was hilarious that they got the haunted house and ours wasn't. So that's what they get that's karma. That's what they get for making fun of me for all these years. That they got a beach house that was haunted, and then freaked them all out. So I thought that was a lot of fun. All right, we're going to jump into to football. As always, I thought it was hilarious. Miami, it came out that they were under investigation, the NCAA investigation about their NIL stuff. And look, the NCAA has a history of people that basically dare the NCAA or that kind of stand up the NCAA. They're going to come in, and the NCAA has a history, as I well know. How about that? Is they're going to come in and they're going to try to they're going to investigate you and see if they can find something. And in this case, I think the NCAA picked the wrong one. They were going after John Ruiz, and this guy he's daring them, and he will sue them like we've talked about into oblivion. But here's the truth, guys: is he's not doing anything illegal. He's a very smart individual. You don't make that kind of money. You don't become a billionaire by being a dumbass. That doesn't happen. He's a very smart human being. He has a legal team that will make the 92 NBA Dream Team, Olympic team, look bad. I mean, he's got a legal dream team. That stuff is buttoned up. He is doing everything by the book. He is doing everything right. Because he's talking about it, and because he's being a little boisterous about it, and he's not scared to talk. And like we said on here before, if you want any kind of NIL follow John Ruiz on Twitter. He talks about it every day. And because everybody comes after him, and he's just like, here, he's an open book. One of the smartest things, and he was, like I said, he was playing chess while everybody else was playing checkers. One of the smartest things that he did is he has offered an NIL deal to every single long snapper in America. And so he is getting people on other teams, and he is representing them and giving them NIL deals where the government or whoever decides to step in, whether it's the NCAA, can't say he's doing it just for the Miami kids. He's very intelligent in what he's doing. He's got plenty of money, and he's butting it up. He's above board. You may not like it, but it is what it is. And so I think it's more of a show. Maybe the NCAA knew that they weren't going to find anything, and just kind of as a flare, a warning shot, a shot across the bow to everybody that they will investigate you. Maybe that's why they did that. But you're not going to get anything out of this. There's nothing going to come of this investigation. It is clearly. Maybe they're just practicing investigating. I don't know. They're not going to get anything out of that because he's doing everything right and above board. I know that for a fact. I did know that I was surprised that it broke as quickly as it did. I was probably aware that they were under investigation a week maybe before it came out. And usually this stuff stays under wraps for a long time. But it came out pretty quickly. And it's because John Ruiz is not going to allow this thing. He knows he's not doing anything wrong. And he's not going to allow things to go unsaid that are true. So he's going to talk about it publicly, and I'm sure he talked to the right people and got the information out there that the NCAA was investigating Miami. But again, they're picking on the wrong one. He's going to have his stuff buttoned up, and you may not like what he's doing. It may be, against some unwritten rules, but there's nothing he's doing illegal. There's nothing he's doing wrong. There's nothing that Miami is doing illegal. There's nothing that they are doing wrong. They're taking the rules as they are, and they're using them to their advantage. So kudos to them, and good for John Ruiz. I'll say it 100 times. I'm going to try to get him on the podcast one of these days. But he is just he's doing things being aggressive and doing things the right way, but he's smart, and you don't get guys that are that smart. You're not going. NCAA is not going to get those guys. Let's stay in the recruiting lane for the next couple topics here. So the first thing I want to talk about, and a lot of football coaches are listening, a lot of recruiting staffs are listening. Shout out to my guy Max at Cincinnati. He texts me the other day. He listens every week. That runs recruiting at Cincinnati. I just find this hilarious. I was having this conversation, and it's come up like 3 times this week. So I don't think it's something we've covered on here, but the photo shoots and the things that are going on right now, when they dropped the rules, which we talked about them dropping the rules, I think that was in January. I don't even remember at this point in time, but they dropped the rules on what you could do from photo shoots and things like that. And everything's gone overboard. And so now it's become this one-upping thing. And so we were joking the other day I think the conversation started with the offensive lineman that has the nickname Pancake. So somebody comes out. I don't know who did it first, so I'm not going to sit here and give anybody credit because I don't know who did it. In his photo shoot, he has a stack of pancakes, and then he does another photo shoot, and now the pancakes, instead of 1 pancake, it's like 3 pancakes. And the next one, it's like 4 or 5 pancakes. And it's just like we got this one-upping on graphics and things, and it's just really funny when you look at these things. And then we see, then you start having cars. And I don't know who the first one to have cars in their photo shoots and things like that, but it turned into being like a Corvette. Now it was a Bentley, then it's Aston Martin, and then we're going on to this other thing in a photo shoot. And then literally we saw a deal, I think it was Louisville, where they were doing high dollar cars and private jets in their photo shoots. And so I just think it's the one-upping that goes on in recruiting, and the time that it takes to do that is unbearable. And the organization that you have to go through to do these kind of things is unbearable. For somebody that's ran recruiting, it is unbearable. It's not as simple as saying, hey, let's get some pancakes in here. You got to call somebody to cook the pancakes. Well, the pancakes got to be fresh in case he wants to take a bite of them. So now you got to call somebody on a Saturday that's cooking pancakes. I mean, it just gets insane. Or trying to get the rent-a-cars or whatever you're doing, the level of organization that goes through these things. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It matters not one bit. And I've told this story on here, and I'll tell it again. You're never at the end of the day. It may come down to money now with NIL, but at the end of the day, not one kid's going to say, "Hey, coach, you know what? The reason I'm coming to your school is because I got to take a photograph with that Bentley." That's not going to happen. It never will happen. And the amount of time and organization that goes through these things when it comes to graphics. And so every single personnel person in here is giving me a high five because this is the next thing we're going to talk about. When this came up, my man Dave Shoemate brought this up the other day. We were laughing. Is there'll be a kid you'll be running recruiting, and there'll be some kid that either one you have no chance in signing, you have no chance. Now maybe you want to sign him, and you have a coach on your staff that just won't give up. I mean, he won't give up, and somebody on your staff's got to say, "Hey, bud, look, appreciate your effort, but we're not getting this guy." And coaches are competitive by nature. And one, been one. Okay. And you never want to give up. You want to compete till the end. But there comes a point in time where you're like, hey, we ain't getting this guy. Or it's a guy that's so far down your board that it doesn't matter, but there's a coach on your staff that's recruiting that guy that really wants him up there because he wants to sign his guy and he's competitive over his kids. And it never fails. It'll be like you'll be searching Twitter on a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. And this recruit has posted a picture of some other school sending his grandmother's sister's cousin's uncle a happy birthday graphic. And it never fails. You'll get that call from, hey, we need to send that. We got to compete. We got to send that birthday graphic today in the next 30 minutes. A personalized graphic to that kid, his grandma's sister's uncle's cousin's wife on her birthday, so we can stay competitive in the recruiting game. And at the end of the day, we put all this effort and all of this stuff that goes into this frivolous things that don't matter. And so one thing I always try to do in recruiting is keep the main thing the main thing. And because it's unrealistic, a lot of things, and everybody thinks that there's just magic pixie dust. That comes from a man, Kevin Steele, used to say that all the time, that hey, let's just sprinkle some magic pixie dust on it and boom, it'll happen. There's so much organization and things that go around behind the scenes that the fans don't see. A lot of times the coaches don't see, that you get an appreciation of, um, when you work in recruiting and you understand what people do behind the scenes and how hard they work. And just to almost get, sometimes slapped in the face because of those things gets frustrating. But I bring that all up to say this is, if you're listening to this, you're about 4 or 5 days in the recruiting departments. I want to give y'all a big high five, man. June is hell month. There's without question, undeniable, June is the worst month for recruiting staffs. Ever right now because of the way the new rules are, and bring in official visits. You have a lot of teams that never did summer visits, but because of NIL and the new rules, they're loading up on summer visits. Talked to another staff yesterday that they had never. We'll say it's an ACC school, a power ACC school. You can pick it out from whatever you want to on that one, but a really good school in the ACC who had never brought in a recruit in the summer ever, and they brought in 31 the first weekend. And it's just, I don't know why 30, 31, it seems to be the number, but there's a lot of kids speeding up the process because of NIL. The process keeps being sped up. And so it's just June, you're doing that with camps and with unofficial visits and workouts and everything else, and working with your own team. You got your own kids coming back to school. And, there's so many things that the recruiting staffs do. It's just June's a hell month. And if you've survived it, guys, it's almost over. Give you guys a big high five and a big shout out because I know it's been rough. So coming this time next week, you'll be at the beach. So hang in there. You got about 4 more days. All right, I'm going to shift gears. Got some information this week that kind of skews my opinion a little bit on this Arch Manning deal. So I do think Arch, the decision is going to come sometime in the next couple of weeks. I have been told that. So I think it's coming to an end, and I think it's going to help, I guess, set the quarterback market. I know a lot of people are waiting on to see where this guy goes and who goes where and all that stuff. So a lot of people are waiting on Arch. But here's what's changed is Arch doesn't want any money from the schools, which was said at the beginning, and then it kind of got thrown away, and then it's back. He wants the schools to save the money on to get other players from NIL's perspective, because he's going to get his own NIL deals, which is what we've said from the jump, and he's going to set every record known to man. He's got some good connections there. so he's not going to have to worry about where he's eating next week. But I'll tell you this: if school money's not in play, I definitely think Georgia's the team to beat here. I could be dead ass wrong. This is a Siskey educated guess. I could be dead ass wrong. But if money's not in play, I don't see how he doesn't choose Georgia with what they have going right now. If money's not involved from the schools, and to my understanding, as of I guess this was last Wednesday or Thursday, I got this information. If that is accurate, and which I is a good source, um, I think Georgia's the team to beat here. He's done it. He has. I think this past weekend did his Texas official visit. Did his Georgia before that. So I think this thing's wrapping up, and he's not going to be a guy that flips. So um, putting two and two together, I think it goes. Arch will be going to Georgia. I think that will be setting the quarterback market for that. Also on that same kind of breath, I will tell people this, and I want fans to understand this. Anytime you see a player that moves his commitment date, especially and it happened in the past, it's really happening now. That just means that a new offer came to the table. That's all that means. And so anytime you see one change, that means this is translation. Instead of saying, hey, I'm moving my commitment date back a week for whatever reason, translation is somebody came in with a new offer, different from the school that I was going to choose. So now I have to think it again because I think that offer is pretty good. So I may end up going to that other school. Instead of the school I was going to choose today or tomorrow, I'm going to go to this other school because somebody came in with an offer that I couldn't refuse. That's what that means. That's translation for all you fans out there. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you see kids, especially quarterbacks, changing their commitment dates. Quarterbacks, defensive linemen is another good one, and skill positions. So D linemen change their commitment date, something's up. Okay, so that's not just I feel like I need another couple of days to wait on my to commit on my mother-in-law's sister's cousin's wedding anniversary. That means somebody came in with something that made me change my mind. Is what that means. Last week on the beach, I had a lot of time to think, and one of the things that I thought about, I want to bring up, that I hope is a byproduct. You know, if there are some good things that can come out of dropping the 25 limit going straight to 85, is if you're an AD, not changing coaches, firing coaches early in the season, letting them finish out. I know we've talked about this before on here during the football season, which I was very upset when USC last year fired Clay Helton. Me and DJ both were 2 weeks into the season. I think that's ridiculous. And you're punishing the wrong people. You know, I've said this, and if you're new to the podcast, I don't ever understand it. You're doing nothing but hurting your program and hurting your kids. But now doing away with the 25, there's less pressure with a portal and how things are so fluid now. Hopefully, a year into this deal, coaches or ads will see that there is no value in doing that. Yes, there's going to come a time when you have to have a discussion and discuss employment, but in any sport, I just don't understand the thought process of wanting to make a change or make some kind of announcement before the season's over with. It's a season to season deal. We all know that. We work in a scoreboard business. We all know that. And there's no reason to do it week to week. I think that's ridiculous. So I think hopefully with the new rules the way they are, you can get to 85 very quickly. So the fact of you gain nothing by firing a coach. Everybody's like in the beginning of the season. Now the argument is, well, we can start our search earlier. Hey, guys, you know who you're going after. Okay, every AD knows, and they talk about everybody. AD has a list. And you may not have a list, but you know who you're going after, and they're either going to say yes or no, and it doesn't matter when you do that. And so, for the sake of just the kids, man, and the student athlete, when you got a head coach that leaves at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the season, or he gets fired, the accountability for those kids going to class and failing drug tests and things like that and staying out, getting in trouble. There is no accountability, especially now. This is already becoming the NFL because we're paying the players. Now you go pay a player money and then your coach gets fired. Now you go try to discipline now, see how that works out for you. It's not going to work. The portal, all the tampering and things we've talked about, it's a nauseum. So hopefully with this getting rid of the 25, and what that means, guys, is they don't have this pressure to go sign a huge class in December. They have time. And so you're going to have time to develop and bring kids in through the portal and get back to the 85, whether you lose them or not. And so hopefully it just, hey, let's keep it. Let's keep the main thing, which is the student athlete and what their welfare is. And let's keep the guys in there. And hopefully it's a byproduct. I know I'm getting a personal kick out of it, which I know many of you fans that listen to this are. Um, I'm so excited that we had a little thing here in Oxford over the last month where they were trying to fire a guy, and he's about to win a national championship. So hopefully, because I'm pulling for Carl and Lafferty and those guys that I've known for a while, and hoping they have a great year. But I think that's something that's pretty entertaining. It's a great story around here right now. All right, the let's keep back on the NCAA a little bit. This transformation committee, I actually saw something that it almost gave me a little bit of hope. The NCAA and their transformation committee or whatever they're calling it, and they're trying to change the way things are done. And one thing that came out is they're going to try to do this deal where they speed up the investigations. But the most important thing that came out of that was the bottom part. And if they do this, I am a huge fan. I've said it on here till I'm blue in the face. We haven't talked about it in a long time, but they're talking about punishing those responsible for the violations and not punishing the student athletes that aren't involved. And we were talking about this back when Oklahoma State's basketball team got put on probation and things like that. Is these investigations take so long that the teams that when they go and they punish the school, the people that actually did the things wrong aren't there anymore, and it's some new kid that had nothing to do with it. And a lot of times it's new administration, like literally it's no one. And it just never makes any sense to me. And it's like, yeah, we're punishing the school. I mean, okay. I mean, I kind of get your point that it's the institution that hired the guy and all that stuff, and he did it at the institution. But at the same time, the same guy gets to go, coach somewhere else. And it's not that, has the show calls and all that stuff. He may not can coach in the NCAA, but these high profile coaches that are getting in trouble, especially they go coach in the NBA or go coach in the NFL or whatever, hell, they're getting a raise. They're getting fired up. But the people that get punished a lot of times, again, it's not the head coaches. They don't get punished. It may be the assistant coach on the staff that loses his job because some other idiot did something on his staff, was sloppy and did something stupid. Or it's the kid that's in 7th grade or 8th grade right now that doesn't know anything about what you're doing, and he's going to turn around and go to your university in 4 years, and then you're going to put him in probation 2 years later. Now he can't go to a bowl game because of what happened when he was in 8th grade. And so this is something that needs to be done. And here's the kicker is if they want to stop this shit, not only do you punish the ones that did the action, they need to punish the student athlete that's involved in it too. A lot of times that doesn't affect the person that took the money. They're doing the same shit. They're taking money for playing, under the table or whatever it was, cheating. They should be punished as well. Not just the freaking the coach that did it. I mean, they're just as involved. If you got two people robbing, if you got somebody in the getaway car and somebody robbing the bank, both go to jail for the same amount of time. So, they both need to be punished, not just the coach or whoever's involved. So, if they want to put a stop to it, that'll stop some of this stuff. But if you just keep letting the guy that's driving a getaway car take his money and just keep robbing banks and keep driving getaway cars, he's going to keep driving getaway cars. If you don't have any accountability on the people who actually did the crime, they're not going to stop. And it's just unfair. And we're in this world all of a sudden where everything's got to be fair. Everybody's got to get a trophy. Well, if we're going to be fair, let's be fair and not allow the people who had nothing to do with it not get punished. And so hopefully they do this and it gets passed. And these votes supposed to be coming up pretty quickly. And maybe we'll have an answer to this before football season actually starts. So maybe that'll work out, and hopefully they'll do something right. And this would be something right. So I'm pulling for you to do something right, NCAA. All right, last thing. I know this is a football podcast, but I couldn't help it. As all of you know that listen every week, I am a big-time golf fan. I am a terrible player that hits it a long way into the woods, but I love watching it. The Live Golf Tour has been discussed for over a year. maybe longer than that, about this new tour coming around. And it kind of never took shape. And all of a sudden, bam, the PGA Tour got hit in the face with it. And basically, if you don't follow it, the Saudi backed company or organization, I guess, is basically paying all of these PGA Tour players to come play on their tour instead of the PGA Tour. And so the PGA Tour, they're in trouble and they're losing. As of this morning, Brooks Koepka has been announced that he's leaving to go to the Live Tour. Uh, and then Phil Mickelson's going to the Live Tour. But here's where, it's bad for the fans. That's, I guess, if I had a take on it, it's terrible for the fans because you're going to have, regardless of what happens, not every star is going to go over there. Not every star is going to stay. You're going to have a split tour. But the PGA Tour is in trouble, and they really have two options. They can either one, go and beg the USGA, beg the PGA Championship, and beg the Masters to not let these guys play in majors, and they'll stop going. Don't think that'll happen, but that's an option that they have. They'll beg. That'll be the first thing they try to do is beg for that. Or two, they got to pony up and pay the players. But here's the deal. This is the only reason we're talking about this today, and I get a little frustrated from time to time with this. Is because I was watching, getting ready. I do DraftKings and do fantasy lineups for all these tournaments and stuff. And so I'm watching, getting ready for the U.S. Open, which is a big one of the majors. And I see this interview with Phil Mickelson. And they ask Phil Mickelson about, are you going to write a personalized letter to all of the victims of 9/11 and tell them why you're taking the money? Or are you going to take your money and you're going to donate it to the victims of 9/11? And I just was really taken back by that. That's bad ball by the media person. I mean, this is about the money. And where I get frustrated is we pick and choose who we pick on, and we don't tell the full truth. Like a majority, not a majority, but a ton of the companies that sponsor the PGA Tour are backed by the same group, same Saudi group. Disney, ESPN, backed by the same group. Our president is going there to meet with the same people about getting more oil to drop gas prices. But we're going to ask that kind of question. It's about the money. Like, what are we doing? Why are we putting politics in sports? I don't understand that, and that bothers me. It's about the money. And I wish one of these guys, and maybe Brooks Koepka, he'd be the one to do it because he's not scared. But you know what they should ask is they should say, hey, they should flip the question back on the reporter and say, hey, look, and let me be clear for the people that don't know, these guys are getting paid like ridiculous amounts of money. And so, give you an idea, Dustin Johnson, number one player in the world for a long time, hasn't been number one probably a year or two, whatever it was. But he has been a number one in the world for a good bit of time, one of the best golfers out there. He is getting older. He's like 38. He had made $78 million his entire PGA Tour career. That's his career earnings, not counting endorsements, but $78 million. By signing his name on a piece of paper to go to that tour, they paid him $150 million by signing his name. So his whole life has worked to get $78 million, but signing his name, he got $150. And then when you win these tournaments, they're not playing as often. It's a 54-hole event. It's a short deal. They're trying to create a tour that's for the younger group, and I'll explain that in a second. But they're getting $4.5 to $5 million by winning a tournament that has 48 people in it. Charles Schwartzel made 25% of his career earnings in one weekend by playing golf. It's about the money, period. It's not about Phil Mickelson's not doing this to flip off the and I don't even like Phil Mickelson. Let me state that. I don't like Phil Mickelson. I don't like Patrick Reed. I don't like Bryson DeChambeau. Don't like them. Okay, as a fan, don't like them. But they're not doing this to show shame or throw shade on 9/11 victims. Where does that question come from? Like, that person needs to be slapped. It's really ridiculous. It pisses me off. They need their ass kicks, what they need for asking dumbass questions like that. But nobody holds them accountable. But if you ask the same reporter, If you ask the same exact reporter, look, I know you probably make what, $50,000 a year being a reporter. If you're just a guy, maybe some more. If they offered you $5 million to cover the Live Tour and be our exclusive media cover person for the Live Tour, would you be? Hell yeah, they would sign up. The hypocrisy is so thick, it pisses me off. Look, guys, this is about the money. And if you did the, and they got now the Saudi people, they got real money. Okay, and you know what they could do? They could also start an NFL league. They could go back to USFL. And I guarantee if they came in and said, "Hey, Aaron Rodgers, look, I know you make $50 million a year, but we're going to pay you $300 million to go be the quarterback for the Birmingham Stallions." Aaron Rodgers is packing his shit up and going to Birmingham. It's about the money, period. And just like for everybody listening to this podcast, it's about the money. There's no politics involved in this. But one of the problems that the golfers have had is just say it's about the money. Just go ahead and say, "Help, yep, I'm going because of the money. Sorry, guys. I'm an independent contractor. I'm an athlete. My prime's coming to an end. I'm going to take the money." And so I don't understand why we have to get so bent out of shape about this, because any person in their right mind, because your loyalty, number one, lies at the house. And you go to make, and everybody's like, "Well, how much money is enough money?" Guys, and if you've ever been in those shoes, okay, you can't question a man in these shoes. But any person that's listening to this podcast, if somebody offered you twice to sign your name on a piece of paper, I want everybody, let's do an exercise. Let's think about your career earnings, as much as you've earned in your life, and somebody offered you to go work at another company, whatever your job is. Your rival company comes in and offers you, you don't give a shit who backs them. If they come and offer you twice what you've made in your entire career to come over and work for them, your ass is gone. Not That's not your salary, that's your signing bonus. That's just to come to the company. Your ass is gone, every one of you. And if you say you're nope, I'm staying here because this, you're a liar. That's what you are. You're a liar. You're full of shit. If you say you're not doing that, you're full of shit. And so let's keep this politics shit out of the deal and keep it about what it is, the money. Ask the question. Is this about the money? Ask the question. If you want to ask a question, ask that question. But keep all this. I was really pissed off because I'm really sensitive to the 9/11 deal. Just me personally, I'm really sensitive to it. Um, it's my Pearl Harbor for my generation. I've been to. I watch. It's a day I will never forget. One of the saddest days in my life, if not the saddest day of my life, as a citizen of this country. And that really pissed me off that you would go there, or a reporter is allowed to go. I mean, it's freedom of press; they can ask what they want to, but that doesn't need to be left alone, in my opinion, as far as being able to ask those questions, because it doesn't have shit to do with why somebody goes and plays golf on another tour. They're going to play golf on another tour because they want to make more money. But let's go pick on these guys because it's easy. And don't go ask the real questions that you, if you want to ask those kind of questions, there's a bunch of companies that you can go ask those questions to. But this is about the money. This is about athletes doing their deal. And you know what? If they came and sponsored an NCAA deal and you go double somebody's career earnings, their ass is going too. It is what it is. And so anyway, that's my soapbox. I was really pissed off about that last week. I just disagree with everything that goes on with trying to bring politics into sports. I've said that last year. I'll keep saying it. Politics does not belong anywhere in sports. Leave the shit out. And we keep trying to bring it in and bring it in and bring it in and bring it in, and it doesn't belong. And it is what it is. All right, that's a good place to kind of end that before I get too pissed off. I was already hot. Sorry, guys. But we're going to remind everybody we're going on vacation. We're going to take a little bit of break here. We're not going to do an episode for the next 2 weeks. So this will be the last episode for 2 weeks. I'm going to Florida with my son's baseball team for their World Series. Panama City Beach, making a return trip. Haven't been back since spring break of '98. So Club La Vila, here we come. I was joking. My wife did not think that was very funny. I tried to talk my wife into seeing if she wanted to go back to Club La Vila to relive some of our younger days back in the spring break of '98. She didn't think it was too funny. But we'll be back. And then next week's 4th of July, that Monday. So we're not going to tape that week as well. We're going to recharge our batteries here as well. I encourage you guys to do the same. Look, guys, take time. I know a lot of coaches will be, a lot of coaches that are listening right now. It is a crazy business that we've chosen, that I thank goodness I'm out of, but that you've chosen and you're still in. Take time on this vacation to basically re-recruit your family, spend that time, hold your loved ones dear, and really, and you know, spend some quality time with your family. I think that's important. Um, and to recharge your batteries and kind of know what you're working for. You always want to know what you're fighting for, and understand what you're working for and what you're doing this for. And make sure you enjoy your families over the next few weeks. And then when we get back in July, it's going to be ball time. It's time to go. It's almost here. It's hard to believe that it's almost here. It seems like the off season's gone by fast this year, but she's here, and let's go. We'll be back with you guys in the, I guess that will be the second week in July. We'll be back with you guys bright and early. And until next time, take care.